Josh. Nice to meet you. Hi, everyone.
Nice to meet you. I'm gonna switch to my my vampire. Give me a second. Okay, you should be able to, if you tap my picture, it should switch to an SVS. All right.
All right.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep, very
Yep.
clear. Cool. I think on our end, that might be everyone that's here to begin, right, Ryan?
I think so, yeah.
Great. Yeah, let's kick it off then. If y'all want to take it away.
Yeah, cool. So I guess we're good to begin, right? Josh, nice fan,
Yeah.
by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, hi everyone. Thanks for tuning in to this Tour Spaces. So, just on our end, we're just the founders from SVS. So essentially, we're an NFT project that has come together. We've been around for about, I would say, 4 to 5 months now, right, Ryan? Around that time frame. So
Yeah, about that.
yeah, so we have on our Twitter thread, we've done kind of like a recap of what's happened in the last since we've minted. So that's like an easy way for anyone to see what's happened since we've established ourselves. In case that you haven't heard of us, so I think the spaces is just going to be kind of like a give and take where. I think Josh has any questions he can ask us, we respond, and then later on we can just pull people up and down, right, Josh?
Yeah, I can manage. If anyone in the audience wants to ask a question, feel free to request. I'll pull you up. We'll take a line. But yeah, we could. I just pinned up your Scream partnership. Would love to start there if you're up for sharing. How did that come about, and what is it? What does it entail?
Yeah, so we recently have entered a partnership collab with Scream Paramount Pictures for their latest movie. So this is something that we like worked on for quite a while, actually. Working with a company, in the traditional sense of this like magnitude takes quite a lot of time to put everything together and go back and forth. So we actually had quite a lot of stuff planned with Scream, but unfortunately, with COVID and stuff like that kind of kicking up recently, it's some stuff has had to be adjusted. But for us, basically, as far as we know, we are one of the first NFT projects to kind of do a partnership like on this scale with for this kind of purpose. Like just aid them with marketing, their movie and things like that. So it essentially would benefit our holders, and we had some special stuff in store for them, so they could kind of like auction the blood token for movie tickets and premiere tickets and just stuff like that. So we were pretty proud of the partnership with Scream. In all honesty, it's something we worked really hard on over a couple of months, and yeah, it was awesome to see that when we did announce it. We got so much positive feedback from our community and just NFT community in general for that. And if I missed anything about that, Ryan, you can kind of fill in.
No, I think you summarized it quite well. It's just good to have been able to provide this cross-platform towards, I know a lot of the usual NFT utilities within the NFT space, and it was pretty cool when they came to us and they liked the project and wanted to work something out with the more traditional means.
Awesome. So the blood raffle runs until the 10th?
Yeah, so we started that last night, and that's going to be running until late on the 9th. So that should give people a good few days to enter. There's quite a few things to enter for. Most of them are US based just due to the geographical restrictions and COVID. So there's tickets to early screenings before the movie releases on the 14th. There's also codes for free tickets for holders once the movie does release. And then there's some limited edition merchandise as well in collaboration between us both. So people are able to use their blood tokens that they've accrued from staking over the last couple of months to be able to enter this raffle. It's 10 blood per raffle ticket for each category. They can enter as much as they want to increase their odds. But then, yeah, in about 3 days, the winners will be picked before the early screenings happen.
All right, that's lit. I need to go check with my blood balance. I better go check the dashboard.
Yeah, you definitely have to enter.
How many tickets I can get. That's great. What's this private label champagne? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so the champagne is actually something that we actually worked on for quite a while now. So it was one of the first things that we kind of like integrated for utility for blood, right? So you need like a certain amount of blood token to like be eligible to claim the champagne. So what we did is we just thought that would be pretty cool to be able to kind of like reward our holders for something cool and like a physical sort of collectible, because something like champagne can be seen, a lot of NFT holders, NFT collectors, they in themselves are like, collectors, right? And the NFT is a collectible. So we thought that it would be pretty cool if we could give something that's more like the physical line of things. So we thought like what would be pretty cool and not really that done yet. So the champagne is one of the things that we were going for, and it's making some really great progress. So, the dude that we worked with, his name is Shamishin, good dear man. And basically, he's the creator of quote unquote the world's most expensive champagne. So we came together, we were put in touch. He's actually a vamp holder from the beginning. So it's pretty cool to see, sometimes the world really is so small. So that's something that we've been working on, and it's actually been making great progress. So if I'm not wrong, we are on track for early February for delivery of the champagne, and we will be receiving physical samples of it in about a week or so, I think. Right, Ryan? Something along those timelines.
Yeah, it's pretty cool actually, because over the last few months, people have been quite excited for it. Even people who aren't interested in champagne, because it's almost a cooler collector's item than it would be to drink. But it is also cool that we've managed to partnership with Shami, the creator of the world's most expensive champagne, for this, because a lot of people were even excited about it when they thought it was almost like a white label champagne, where we were just putting our name on something. But this has been totally curated over the last 3 months to our taste in collaboration with Shami. So it's not just going to be any sort of champagne that could be bought off the shelf. It is going to be a real collector's piece for SVS holders. And the cool thing about both the collaboration with Scream and the champagne as well is that they both came about from vampire holders. So the lead marketing guy from Paramount, he was a vamp holder from day one, and he came to us and thought that there was a cool collab between the sort of horror nature of Scream and the vampires. And then the same with Shami, he's been a holder since day one as well. So it's cool to see like almost how small a world it can be when sometimes the NFT space can seem quite closed off. But actually, there's a lot of people who are involved in it from all different avenues.
That's good stuff. Yeah, I love that it's coming from the community. That's such a good sign. I'm gonna bring up Dare to Go. Welcome to the stage. You have a question?
I think he's muted. Oh yeah, muted himself.
Yeah, dare to go. You can unmute if you want to chat. All right, we can go to someone else. But yeah, what else do you have? What else do you have coming this year?
So we do have, quite a big rollout of plans coming. So obviously we can't announce some stuff too early, but we have the physical champagne coming, and then the actual screen tickets and prizes, and then we have, we're always working on partnerships. So um, I think we speak all the time with potential partners on merch and things like that. So if we're gonna like quickly round up about what we have coming on the short term, we've been speaking with some railroad companies and potential partners for a new line of merch that we can do. Something to spice it up a little bit. We don't want it to be stale in the sense where we just have like one line of merch, because we released our merch about 2 weeks after our mint and launch. So we when we minted and we launched, we had like a 45 ETH donation to 3 charities, and then we dropped our merch. And what we actually did was we took like a snapshot of addresses, and everyone who was holding a vamp at that time got to claim a piece of free merch each. So we still have the same merch line up right now, and then people can buy merch whenever they want. But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to be doing like co-branded merch with some other rail companies, and then we want to spice it up and kind of release it and make it a little bit different, a little bit more suited to what's coming. So, and then something else that we've been working on as well is like pixel version of the vamps, which can work for games. We can use this for webland and other pixel projects. These are fully animated sprite sheets, so we're getting all of that, so we can have free reign with that and what we want to do with it in the future. And another thing that we're working on right now is 3D models for each vamp. So this is something that is going to be when it's all done and dusted, they're going to be available to be minted with blood. So that's essentially everything that we're planning, is like to be redeemable and minted with blood, right? Because we want to give as much utility as possible back to the Gen 1 vamps, and which are, essentially what the project's all about, right? It's no point shipping out too much of this other stuff if we don't have core utility built around Gen 1. And then sometime in Q1, we will be having our Gen 2 release as well, which is going to be female vamps. So that is going to be super exciting. So yeah, and I think Ryan has some other stuff that he can cover about it.
Yeah, so from day one, we always wanted to release the merch. So that's what we did within the first week, so that everyone could claim a free piece. But our long-term plans were always to create more of a merch line, whether that be certain drops that happen once a month or something like that, with a lot more of a premium feel, where people would really want to rock the merch. So that's definitely one of the more in real life things, along with the champagne that we're working on. But at the same time, we almost have just as much focus on providing more NFT based and within the project utility. So as 2D just mentioned, we've got in the works the pixel and 3D models for all 8,000 vampires. So people will be able to mint 100% with blood these two, the 3D models and the pixel vamps, entirely with the blood that they get from staking. Of which we've already got 72% of our vamps currently staked. So most of the community are all in on the blood utility token, which is great to see, because throughout 2022, that will be our number one priority, adding the utility to the blood token. And that's going to expand within the metaverse as well. So for example, we do have a 3x3 plot in the sandbox, which is currently being built on by an experienced team of builders. They're building us our own lair within there. So it's going to be a castle across the plots where people will be able to hang out. We'll be hanging out like different canvases on there that vampire holders are able to put their artwork on or display their vamps and things like that. So we're excited to show as well what the extra blood utility we have to offer is. because I know originally a lot of people are excited about the blood token just for the likes of Gen 2 and breeding, but with them being more down the line, we're glad to be able to fill in more of this gap with a lot more utility in the meantime.
Good stuff. Yeah, looking forward to all that coming down the road. The Dork, welcome to the stage.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This probably already got answered, but I just came in. The NFT Chalice, is that going to be on the Ethereum network or the Polygon network?
Hey, Dorkilla, could you just repeat that? I couldn't hear that. It was about something about the chalice, I think.
Yeah, is the Chalice NFT going to be on the ETH network or on Polygon?
So this is something that's not totally 100% decided yet. Our original plans were that it's going to be on the Polygon network. Some people might have seen that our recent Polygon bridge to allow for entries such as for the champagne and for these screen raffles to cost zero fees. So our original plan would be that it would be on Polygon to not allow any fees for people to be able to purchase it. But we have had some feedback where people would prefer it to almost be on Ethereum, and they would rather pay the gas for it to be on Ethereum, just so that they have it. I know Ethereum's obviously a more popular network, and on the likes of OpenSea, it makes it a lot more visible. So this is definitely something we're going to discuss internally, and we almost might put a vote out in the Discord to see if people would be willing to pay the gas to have it on Ethereum, or if they'd rather it just be on Polygon with no fees. I'd be interested to see what you think about that. Do you think it will be better suited on Ethereum?
Yeah, I think it'd do better on Ethereum because there might be some people, some holders in certain countries who can't get champagne shipped to them. So, it still gives them the value of being able to sell it off to somebody else.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea as well, with the champagne being so limited. For example, if they do go fast, it almost would be like they have tradability on the aftermarket, which is the whole idea of the Chalice NFT to begin with. So I think that is definitely something we'll be considering on keeping that one on F.
Yeah, because they are going to be like extremely limited, right, in quantity. Like we only ordered so much, so we do think that maybe Ethereum would be a better place for the Chalice to exist, rather than Polygon. So I think we're definitely leaning quite heavily towards that side. So yeah, hope that answers the question.
It does. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Likewise.
All right, we're going to go to Tip Me Bits next. Welcome up, Tip Me Bits.
Hey guys, how you going? I was just wondering if we could throw out some of your background for those people that have just tuned in and that don't know. Just because I know, obviously, we have a lot of 10K PFPs going around, and it's a lot of crypto bros that have just jumped into the NFT space in 2021. So I'm wondering if you can just rattle off some of your previous work and what makes that unique to SVS.
Yeah, so a kind of quick little summary as a whole on SVS and the founders. So, for some of you guys that might not know, we did release a Medium article about this and kind of like a little bit about history. So a little quick recap would be, we've been friends for quite a while now. We met through the crypto space. We've known each other for actually quite a number of years, right? So we were just doing the usual. We were just hanging out, and we thought together, it would be cool if we could build something cool for the community and kind of, build an NFT project which like people could get around, and we could develop a real nice community and, develop that real strong community feeling around, right? So we were put in touch with our artist, Mig. Just so in case anyone here isn't aware of it fully yet, Mig is actually one of the, key artists behind the Bored Ape Yacht Club. So obviously we've been put in with such a, large name and, hugely successful artist and person in the NFT space, right? We were pretty excited to just kind of be put in touch to be able to network. And we were speaking, and we actually, we became pretty good friends, and we thought that, hey, maybe we can do something cool together, right? So we brainstormed a little bit. We thought, okay, we'll do an NFT project, and we thought, a lot of animals have been done for these collections. So what would be pretty cool? So I remember I suggested to Nick, maybe we can go with like vampires, right? I don't think we've seen any vampires be done before. It's super big in pop culture, right? I believe it definitely has a huge role to play in our pop culture and our, kind of like history of pop culture and things like that, right? So it's like it's a standalone figure, and it would be something cool that we could work around with, right? So then we all got together and we loved the idea. We started brainstorming, and we thought, damn, this fit perfectly, right? Like the lair, the Discord can be the lair, and the vamps and stuff like that. So we got together, and then and if you want to know a bit personally on our business side, right? So our lead developer Wolf, he was the ex-CTO of CyberSoul. He's very talented developer. And then we have two developers, right? So the lead dev is Wolf, and then the other dev, who unfortunately cannot be here today, is Freddie. He's a big, big, big guy in and outside of the space. So, and then Topkek is also someone who's very big in the space and this other part of the community, right? With him, having a lot of connections in the crypto space, and because a lot of us have been around for years, right? In the more OG sense, and same with me and Ryan, where we do more of the admin side of things, and Ryan has also worked with multiple big companies for, on the sneaker side of things, but I'm sure maybe Ryan can allude to a little bit more on that himself.
Yeah, so I think you've summarized it pretty well. We've all known each other for years, especially, well, aside from Mig, who we approached us at the beginning, but it's almost like we've known each other from even other communities. So we've been in the crypto space, but we've also been in other spaces as well. And it's almost a thing that we thought, well, we can definitely do this. We know, as 2D said, the vampires haven't been done. We thought this could be a super cool idea. And with the breadth of knowledge across the team, like Mig being one of the best artists there is, especially within the NFT space with the Bored Apes, and then the development from Wolf and Freddie, but mostly Wolf, and then also the community side of Topcat, myself and 2D, we thought we could definitely bring something together here between us, and we think we've even within the first couple of months managed to achieve something pretty well with the 20,000 ETH volume, for example, in just a matter of months. And we can't wait to bring this into 2022 because we've got a lot planned that we weren't able to execute on last year. So we're definitely here for the long term and can't wait to show everyone what else we've been building and ready to bring out.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Yeah, something I'm bullish on in the crypto space as a whole is teams that can build and bring things together and bring things to market. So yeah, pretty hype on this, and love that you guys are already doing that, have done that previously, and have the ability to do that in the future with big names like Paramount, etc. So yeah, looking good. Cheers.
Yeah, and we're glad for all the Vamp supporters who have stuck around a long way as well, because it almost seems like nowadays there's a lot of projects cropping up, and a lot of hype goes around the project around mint, but then it can be quite easy for that to be misconstrued, and a lot of people think that there's a ton of hype for the project, but as soon as they've minted and sold the project on, they're almost out. So we're glad that everybody's stuck around with us, been able to see the team's expertise and how we can continue building into the future months and years. And we're glad that people have stuck around to see what we are able to offer, because we're definitely not done building yet.
Thank you so
That's
much
it from me for now. Thanks.
Thank you so much for the question, Tipping. It's always good to hear from you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with how focused team has been on delivering on that roadmap, and I've been holder since early on, and I was helping out, making some connections, when you launched, and I've watched and seen you all deliver. So respect for that.
Thank you. Yeah, one of the recent milestones that we did hit was, ever since when we launched, we we completed our first roadmap within, I would say, within the first 5 weeks, but we thought, what else can we do that adds more value to our holders and to our community, that doesn't even, not everything has to be put on the roadmap, right? So like a lot of our OG guys will remember that we actually announced that we had like an SVS game being made from the very beginning, right? So even before we really began, we already kind of had like a developer work with us, and Krasenstein, aka Josh, his name's Josh as well. So he's been working with us from the start, and we have like the game has been in close beta now, and it's pretty crazy. Even for just a game like that, that's only for our community members so far. We've already hit 1,000 hours being played in beta, so that's pretty impressive in itself. And we think that it's awesome to see our community so involved with everything that we do. With stuff like Josh, or Krasenstein, if you want to call him that. He streams progress with the game almost every day, so it's pretty awesome to see that so many of our community members kind of stick around everything that we do, and we appreciate the support as it extends to everyone. And we've done a lot of fun stuff, like for some of you guys who are new to us and that have joined this space, we want to give you guys a warm welcome. We actually have a AMA in our Discord every week, usually in the lair. So it's been pretty awesome. We've done so many. We always have good fun over there. I remember when when it was Josh's birthday, we had like a bunch of the OGs come up, 20 people come up on stage and singing happy birthday and stuff like that. So it's always a good time. So yeah, hope you guys can join us over there next time.
Good stuff. Brock, let's go to you.
Hey everybody. First,
hello,
Josh,
Brock.
your vamp is awesome, Josh. I love the eye patch vamps. I'm an eye patch vamp holder as well.
Let's go.
So one thing, I've been involved in the project, following the project for quite some time now, and compared to a lot of other projects that I hold NFTs in, I think the one thing that I've always really liked about SVS is that you guys are kind of running like a different path than a lot of other projects in terms of the utility that you're looking at and how to bring like real world value to being an SVS holder, compared to other projects where it's more just about collabs and morphine and that kind of stuff. And so I kind of was interested in hearing what you guys thought, whether this is a 2D question or Wolf or any of you guys, what you guys kind of thought was like, what would you like to see from the NFT community moving forward in terms of like the type of utility or where you'd like to see the NFT world kind of going? Just kind of like, blue sky and where you guys want to see this go. Not SVS, just the NFT community as a whole.
Can you guys hear me? Wait, Paul, can you hear me as a first?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so for me personally, I would love to see more work and thought put into like the creation of an NFT project in terms of the contracts and like the technology behind it, because every single day there's a contract which is exploited. There's someone who mints hundreds of them. You even saw it on the Adidas NFT drop. So moving forward in this space, and as we get more mainstream, I think that's one thing which should be really focused on. And also, I think Discord security, because I think in the recent past days, I don't know, I see a new Discord being hacked or someone being compromised in the Discord, and then every member gets into this fake mint and then loses their money. So that's a really bad outlook, and it's really easy to fix, but I don't know why the people do not put their time into that. So moving forward, I would love to like see that changing and see people actually put effort towards protecting their community and investors, basically. So that's my take.
Nice, awesome. And yeah, would I be wrong in assuming that you'd also want to see it all move over to Avalanche, Wolf?
Well, it's cheaper to mint, but the market on Avalanche is like lower. There's no NFT trades on Avalanche, is there?
No, not really.
Yeah, I think one thing I'd like to see as well is a lot more of the similar to as we mentioned before. One of our original plans has always been to bring more real life utility. We've seen in the past with a lot of profile picture projects, not a lot happens, and I know in the last few months a lot has gone towards the utility with things introducing tokens and ones like that. So we were almost one of the first movers to want to add as much sort of real life utility as we can. For example, we've also recently partnered with Paradigm Sports, who are a leading sports athletes network. So that's again bridging more into the real life space, along with the champagne and along with the Scream collab. But it almost seems like as huge as some of those are, they sometimes get knocked back a bit just because of the sheer amount of people who are still not into the crypto and NFT space. So going forward, this is obviously just going to be something that evolves over time and more people are going to be accepting of. But that just also shows as well how early we still are. Seems like the NFT and crypto space is huge to us who are inside it, but there are still just so many people who are so against them or not interested in them or don't even know what they are. So education in the space as well, going forward, is just going to lead to even more people getting interested.
Yeah, because one thing I do believe that people might not realize in itself, right, is like, when we've shown that we've successfully worked with a company as big as, companies as big as Paradigm Sport, Paradigm Sports, Paramount Pictures, Scream, it says a lot in itself that it sets a pretty big stepping stone and a big foundation of everything that we can do and can build going forward, right? We're only a project that's about 4 or 5 months old, and we've, managed to accomplish quite a lot in that short period of time, and especially with us trying to bridge as much of the gap between the NFT space and, like, quote unquote the traditional world, and bring as much real life utility as possible. We believe that all of this, everything, like, says for itself, so like it lays a good foundation for everything that we can do going forward, and work with different people. So and it's pretty close, and it's pretty cool to be able to touch bases with people in these kind of places. And yeah, like, even we had the recent Jake Paul charity auction, which is um pretty interesting for us, and I think, if I'm not wrong, correct me if I'm not wrong, but on the charity auction, the SVS ones actually sold for the highest. So it's pretty nice to see that we have them, reach over the real world as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I also think it's great that our team, I think a lot of projects nowadays as well, when they realize how successful an NFT can be as soon as it drops, they're almost interested in getting the original funds in. They'll execute on their roadmap. So they're not necessarily rugging anyone or something like that, but they're solely interested. Whereas from our standpoint, it's the total opposite of that. And even when collabs that we've done aren't perceived as well as we expected, for example, or, they don't quite go as we originally planned, it's still bringing great exposure to not only our project, but the whole NFT space. And as 2D just touched on, it just adds whole legitimacy to more real people getting into the NFT and crypto spaces, which is only great for the space as a whole over the coming months and years.
But I think it's really interesting too. You bring it up because you guys talk about all this utility and all these kind of next level things that you're bringing into the project that really no other NFT project that I'm seeing is really doing. But it just goes to show you, especially when I'm going to say floor, but it's like when you look at like the SVS floor, the consistency over the last few months is just crazy compared to a lot of other projects that literally look like a roller coaster ride. And so I kind of view this as like, boy, all of this outside stuff that you guys are doing so different from the community, that I think what makes me really bullish about this project is you guys are legitimately run like a business. Other NFTs are literally just projects, and you guys are like a business. So I love what I see, and it's just it's so exciting to be along for the ride. And I appreciate you guys letting me participate.
Yeah, thanks for coming up. I think that's a
Yeah, thank you. That's an important point, right? Because some people, new people, might not remember or realize, right? But we launched with a completely void of gas wars, right? So our mint is 0.08 essentially on its own. We launched with anti-bot and no gas wars. So it's pretty cool and pretty, like you said, Brock is still super consistent, right? For the most part, we were always like 10x above mint from the very get-go, especially, for a project that had zero gas wars. we had such high unique holder rate from the very beginning. I think it was something about 52%. We had 4,600 holders from the get-go because we only allowed a max mint of 3 per wallet. So yeah, it's been pretty cool to see how much we've grown in the last few months, and we can't wait to see how much we will grow over the next few months and years.
I'm pretty sure that well, I know this is a long-term hold for me, but this is going to be one of those ones that I'm excited to tell people that I got back in, I got into when I was early. I'm super stoked for that.
Yeah, and that's the thing we appreciate so much about the holders such as yourself and the people who have stuck with us to now, because it would be quite easy as long-term as we are. People are in the NFT space to make money. So when there's new projects coming out every day and they can easily 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x their money almost overnight, there is a lot of focus for people on staying liquid and being able to get into new projects. So we do appreciate those who see our long-term vision. They see what we're able to execute on and what we're able to bring to the holders, and are happy to stick around long-term. And I think we don't particularly talk price action as many people would, but we're excited to see how that goes long-term when we keep adding to the plans that we have for this year.
I love it. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on.
Of course.
Let's go to Crisis next.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Josh, sorry, excuse me. And I was pretty much just going to piggyback a lot off of what Brock was saying. I think that foundationally, SBS is building something that really hasn't been done in the space. As far as like handling it like a business, they're using a lot of building blocks that just provide like such a solid foundation. It's not your typical pump and dumpy type of scheme, and I'm not calling out any projects or anything like that, but you just see it so much in the space, and it's just never had that. This is just a page shill, and we're trying to make our money and run. The team has been voted since day one. A good example of that is like, I think 2D roughly mentioned it before about the Paradigm Sports collaboration. That's incredible. And a lot of people who aren't familiar, like, that's a major company, and those guys are backing some major athletes. Now, there's endless possibilities of where that can go later on. And that's just one example of like these solid partnerships they're building. It's not just your average pump and dump scheme. It's something being built. And that's why you have all of these holders that are sticking around so good long term. It's because we see the vision. We see the work that the developers and everybody puts into it every single day. Even when it comes to, we mentioned the game that was being made before, the game developer, which is just not even part of the roadmap, that's just part of the project that they decided to add on. He is every single day giving us updates on that video game, helping out with the people, having beta testers help out and putting input and listening to input and adjusting the game as it goes. So even the little stuff, if you want to call it little, is focused on so deeply in this project that you can't not love it. You can't not love what the devs are doing.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's said really well. We do believe that everything that we do is always centered around the community, right? So we always are open for improvements and, how much, like we can do and give back for the community. So yeah, it's awesome to hear, such positive feedback, Crisis. I always see you in the lair and Discord as well. So, yeah, I think some people don't really, understand the weight or the weightage of some of the stuff that we've done yet. Partnerships with these kind of people will really set things in stone as we keep on going on, right? At the end of the day, we keep building more and more, and we stack these partnerships on top of each other, and we keep seeing what we can produce. At the end of the day, these kind of partnerships can speak for themselves when we talk about NFT projects that integrate and work with other real life companies and real life projects, and we can't wait to see what's possible over time.
Yeah, I think that's where there can be almost a catch-22 as well, where there are obviously always going to be holders who are they're in the space, but they're in it for an investment, and you can't blame them, but they're only really interested in the floor. So it's great to have been able to have built such a great community who, although they're in it for the long run as well, they're happy to see us, as Brock and Crisis have both touched on, almost being able to build the building blocks. Because I know certain projects, if, for example, another larger project or one that had just minted or one that had exceptional hype announced something like a Paradigm Sports or a Screen partnership, it would have perhaps had a lot more impact on their price, always going back to price, but that's what people seem to talk about a lot. So it's great that people are seeing that we're using these as blocks for being able to build our legitimacy, build the brand out. As we say, we're not going anywhere. So anything that we can do, and while providing utility to holders, while also being able to build out for the long term, is great to see.
Bart, welcome to the stage.
Bart, I think you're muted, in case you might not know.
All right, I think you had to drop. Let's go to Count Mothula.
Ah, yes, Count Mothula.
Oh, we love that Mothula.
The fan favorite.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Welcome, Count.
Good afternoon.
Josh, thank you for hosting us today, and it's always nice to see the Vamps in full force, even on Twitter. I think the one thing when I think about NFTs and when I'm talking to folks who are maybe outside of the space, SVS is a really easy project to discuss because there's a key part about SVS, I think, that the market is maybe not seeing, right? Which is the fact that we're building so much more than just a project, but really a brand. And you can see that in the work that a lot of the developers and other members are doing, right? Whether it's branding our logo, whether it's branding our um, collaborations, right? We're focused on quality rather than quantity, which in the first 3 months of any project, or 4 months, excuse me, is very crucial for the longevity. You know, as an SVS holder, when I'm entering other Discords or other projects and they see Count Mothula, they always go back to the fact that we have, an amazing developer in Woof, someone who's very famous, who is bound to make an impact in the space. And I think when you couple that with the hard work that, 2D Vamp, Ryan, T, Keck, and others are putting in, it's really a recipe for success. And that's shown with the 72% of Vamps that are staked today. And I think that's a huge vote of confidence for what we're doing. One thing that we should continue to do, I think, is education. I think that's a really key point that was mentioned earlier through Brock. If we are offering real life utility, then we want to expand that beyond, or we want to expand the SVS brand beyond just crypto Twitter or crypto Discord. That means that we need to bridge that gap. And a really good way is through education. And like I mentioned when I first started, SVS is a really easy project to share with people outside of the crypto space because they are the only project that I see today, maybe along with Basie, that are making an effort to bridge the gap with the real world. So I encourage, the team, and I encourage the community to continue focusing on education, uh, because as we educate the masses, the inherent value of our, NFT can only grow. And I was going to say JPEG, but I don't want to sound like a normie, so I'll say NFT.
Yeah, that's also something, especially coming into 2022, we've decided that we definitely need to focus more on. I know, obviously, from day one, we've had such a community feel where we've been fully community focused with, say, the weekly AMAs and things like that. Because one thing we definitely want is people who have invested in the product to get their voices heard. If they have suggestions that we're able to implement, we're definitely able to do that. I know for example, certain suggestions have been posted in the Discord, and with ours, Wolf and Freddie have been working on them, and they're out the next day. So the almost development speed aspect is there with having such a talented team, that we wanted to hear from the community, and if they have great ideas, we want to put them in. But then, as you say, almost on the flip side, it's just as important to be focusing on people from the outside and educating them in the space. Like I mentioned before, with a lot of our IRL partnerships, we've almost expected them to do better than they did, just from the fact of how huge they are and how big some of the brands are. And it's just almost as if the NFT and crypto space are ready for it, but the real people, the real life people who aren't involved in the space yet, although they know the brands such as Paradigm and Scream, they don't know anything about NFTs, or the only things they have heard are headlines in the news, which are not necessarily positive, usually negative. So it's definitely one of our focuses in 2022 to be able to try and educate people more so, which is almost easier said than done in some regards, because we have attempted it a few times where we'll try and get into the real world, educate some people, try and bring people into the NFT space, and it's difficult to get them interested when all they've heard is bad publicity. So this is definitely something we want to be able to work on to be able to, as you say, provide more of an education, not necessarily trying to shill them in or not necessarily trying to get them to join our project, but just to educate them about the NFT and crypto space in general as well.
Yeah, and gives us a unique opportunity to continue to bridge the gap, right, between NFTs and crypto. Sorry, NFTs and the real world. I mean, the use cases are there to be seen, and I think we have visionaries on our side who would like to see the gap bridged, so we can position ourselves that way. And you mentioned the community feel. I would argue this was my first NFT project, and it it's the first time in a really long time that I felt like I really have a community behind me. I'm not the biggest crypto investor, I'm not the biggest NFT investor, but I know that every day I can come onto the Discord and people are going to ask me how I am, how I feel, and that's something we're lacking, especially with COVID and all of us sort of being in our homes. It's really given folks, let's not even say folks, it's really given me the opportunity to, interact with people that are like-minded, that have the same goals in life that I do, and allowed me to learn from them. And so I feel like I'm getting educated every day, and I'd love to share that with other folks, especially when we have so much to be proud of as a business, as a brand, and as a product. So I'm not shy when I'm at dinner or, out with friends or even my 70-year-old parents, talking to them about NFTs and about all the cool things that SVS is doing.
Yeah, and that's definitely why we're going to have to get you some of the champagne over for your wedding, because I'm sure people enjoy drinking that on the day. But that's definitely an exciting thing as well that you mentioned, educating people and bringing people into the community. Because I know as well, one thing we haven't mentioned on this space is our SVS Alpha within the Discord, where we provide opportunities for our community to join projects that they necessarily may not have been able to otherwise. I know we introduced this a couple of months ago and it's gone down really well with holders, where we contact reputable projects that we expect to do well, projects that have values similarly aligned to ours. So we definitely 100% or even 1,000% vet these projects before we would even mention them in the Discord. But almost originally we got knockback from this, saying, oh, maybe you should be focused elsewhere. Maybe, you shouldn't be introducing our community into other communities, which might dilute it. You should be focusing on things that directly add value to our brand. But as we've been able to build this over the last couple of months, we've got, as even today, we've just added a new thing in the Discord, which is Alpha Calls, which is where certain verified members that we've reached out to are able to make calls for projects that they think are going to do well. But I think that's done a great thing overall, because it's also educated people to other projects. It's widened their knowledge across the whole NFT space. Like you said, your first project was SVS, and that's the same with a lot of people, because having such a fair launch that we did, it allowed a lot of people who may not have otherwise been able to get in, which we're quite excited about as well. So we like that the alpha expands this knowledge, and allows people to get projects that they may not have been able to otherwise. And we have even seen it in instances as well, for example, where they'll mint NFTs and then flip them and then reinvest that money back into more SVSs, just because they know how we have alpha projects every couple of days. The alpha projects aren't going anywhere, and they know that the value that this can bring to them, they want to put their money back into SVS. And that's why we're expanding it into the blood utility as well. So up to now, all you've had to do is hold a vampire to be able to gain access to this SVS alpha within our Discord. But we've seen, especially some of the more active community members, thinking, how can I get increased odds for these? I really, really want this project. I've been following them on Twitter. I would have no chance getting a whitelist via their Twitter because there's tens of thousands of people there. Is there a way that I can get an increased chance through alpha? And that's what we've been looking into, and we're ready to introduce as well. With our new system and with all of our 2022 focus being on blood utility, we want to be able to allow people to spend their blood, use their blood, enter raffles, enter auctions and things like that, to be able to increase their chances in the projects that they really want to get into. So we're excited to roll that out over the next week or so. I know once the Scream raffle ends, that's going to be our focus for the auction and raffle system, bringing some of these best projects to allow people to really get into the projects they want. Because if people have been staking for months and they've got their blood accrued and they have a project that they really want to spend it on, I think it's great that we're able to introduce them to that community.
Totally. I actually, the Psychedelics Anonymous was a widely hyped, NFT drop that was happening in December, and a lot of folks were spending hours on Twitter, trying to get the opportunity. And just having been a vamp holder, we got a big allocation from that project. I was lucky enough to win a whitelist spot. I thoroughly enjoyed my Christmas bonus. So I want to thank, SVS for their alpha, their alpha there, because otherwise I probably wouldn't have been able to participate. And even on that, channel, every day we're getting alpha from team members who have the time maybe to do more research than others, and really have a helping vibe. I think that's what we're all about here, where we have the vibe as a community that we want to lift each other. I don't see that in a lot of other discords, and I think that's a big draw to this community.
Yeah, I think Psychedelics Anonymous especially is a great example for that, as one of the biggest ones we have had in SVS Alpha. It almost seemed like if you were just trying to get a whitelist on Twitter, you'd almost had no chance. But because we got quite a good relationship with Voltura, Wolf audited their contract, for example. That goes back to what Wolf said earlier. He likes to see a lot more within the space on where people actually do due diligence before dropping a project. They're not going to scam anyone. They're doing their best to protect all of the users. So through that, we got quite a good relationship with them, and we're able to get 250 whitelist spots. So this allowed 250 people from SVS to join their community. And what's also great about that project is I've even seen them say on Twitter, they're happy for people to take profits as much as they're happy for people to be in the community. So it was great to see around the holiday period that we're allowed to give so many people access to their project, whether that be them selling it because they need the money for Christmas, holidays, or real life things, whether they stayed in Psychedelics Anonymous, which is a great project. And, I know a lot of people who are as much in that project now as they are in Vamps, which is great to see. But then also others who then sold that and reinvested back into SPS, which I know has happened as well. So however people decide to use the alpha to benefit, their lifestyle the best, is great to see. And I think when we're able to bring this to the Blood platform online, it's going to be great to see how people are going to be really able to increase their odds for the projects that they really want to join, while also having a fully transparent raffle process with it being on the blockchain.
Now, if that's not value, I don't know what is. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for coming up. We appreciate you.
Thanks for coming on. Always good speaking to you.
Test.
Yes, looking forward to next Wednesday's AMA. Great start to the year.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm happy to refer projects too for ones that have whitelist allocation. Let's keep in touch, and we'll see if any of those work for alpha. So,
yeah, that's awesome. So maybe we can do like 1 or 2 more or something.
Test.
Josh?
Let's
go to D-Roro. Thanks for waiting.
Hey guys, sorry, my mic just kind of came out. I wasn't so sure if I was next in line. Give me 10 seconds to get my mic set up. 1 moment.
It's all good. Hey, we'll bring up Senor JPEG too.
All right, so sorry about that, guys. Okay, so first of all, thank you for putting him up here on the spotlight. I appreciate it. I've been in your guys' project since you guys did Mint, and I will say that out of all the projects I've ever been in, I think that's been the cleanest minting process that I've ever seen with the no gas wars concept. I actually think you guys are the ones who created that. I haven't seen anyone else do that as clean. But the reason why I'm on here is because I've heard you guys talk a lot about real life utility and you guys making that branch over. And I hear a lot of projects that they'll talk about it, and I don't really see it too often, mostly because it's kind of hard to make that segue. As we heard from people saying, yeah, there sometimes is bad publicity behind NFTs and they get a lot of flack. But the reason why I'm here is because I work alongside in a film production company based in Canada, known as Voice Pictures. And they just had a film produced and released known as Bloodthirsty. And it's a horror on vampires. Now, the company itself, I wouldn't say it's the level of Paramount, but on the trailer itself, it's gone about shy of 500,000 views across of all the videos and trailers, probably shy of 1 million. The producer herself has worked alongside with Steven Spielberg, and she's produced over 40 films and has received CSA award nominations for Bloodthirsty across many festivals such as the Fantastic Festival, Telluride in USA, Sitges in Spain, Fright Fest in UK. And I don't know, I just kind of want to put it out here because I've heard people, like, just listening to you guys, I know that SVS has a really good community. I'll hear people like Brock, and, you just know that the people here are very, very genuine. Whereas, I've been in many other projects, and sometimes there's just a lot of boneheads in there. They just want a quick pump and dump. Now, the only reason why I bring this up is because the company came to me when I was working alongside them with the producers, that they've wanted to kind of branch into the NFT world and kind of make that segue in there. And I don't know, with their film with Bloodthirsty, SVS kind of came to mind because it's really the only collection of its type that's based on vampires that actually has a strong, genuine community. That I feel like it's just kind of on a different frequency than most, right? So, just I didn't want to take too much of you guys' time, but I just kind of want to put that out there that is something that they're looking for in regards to a partnership, and they are coming out with a second movie, a Bloodthirsty 2. And I mean, even the current actors, like the main actor Greg Burke, he's a voiceover for Far Cry. He's been in Saw, History of Violence, Shoot 'Em Up. So these guys here, it's not like we have to. They take convincing, because a lot of times when you approach real world people with NFTs, they take a lot of convincing. They don't get it, whereas these people are searching for something like that. So even things like of, let's say, Bloodthirsty 2, when there's credits rolling, it's not hard for me to have something like SVS thrown in there in the credits. Or let's say if a premiere comes, because there's a premiere in Toronto where there's exclusive benefits to SVS holders, where the actors are there, the musicians are there, the producers are there, the directors are there. And I think it's a really cool thing, because something like this, it's not something you hear often, just because it's a bit of a connection thing. It's being at the right time in the right place. But I think if it was to be any project, I think SVS is a really, really great. It's a really great project, and I think it's a great fit just because of the theme of vampires. But
Yeah, that sounds yeah, that
yeah,
sounds great. So like for us, we're always open to exploring like every possibility with everyone, at the very least. So if you could get them to just email us over at team@svs.gg, and then we can have carry that conversation over in a more formal sense and set up some meetings, and then we can definitely see what can come from there. No worries.
most definitely. So what I'm gonna do is let me just see here. I'm just gonna follow you, and I'll shoot you a message, and you can just shoot me off that email. We can just kind of carry on that. But nonetheless, just to let you guys know, like, yeah, that's just some of the possibilities. But as far as the NFTs, like, you guys are surreal, like, really genuine people. I can tell that when we're on here, we're all speaking here as adults with bigger goals and bigger strides. A lot of the NFTs just have a lot of kids who just want a quick pump and dump. So, nonetheless, thank you. I really appreciate the time here, and hope to talk to you guys further.
Thanks so
Yeah,
much for
thanks.
coming
Thank
on
you.
and the suggestion. Thank you.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Great. Senor JPEG, you want to ask the last question? Senor, are you there? Oh, went away.
Senor, please. Oh, someone getting their door knocked off.
Oh, that's me. I don't know what's going on. I hope it's not SWAT or something.
Oh, that's not cursing now. Maybe he wants that ape of yours. Okay,
Oh.
so I think I
All right,
think
have it, man.
yeah. Oh, is Senor yeah.
Have it, Ness. You want to unmute?
Yeah, what's up, guys? Just want to give you guys a shout out.
Hey.
SVS is GOAT. You guys have been around for a while, and it's just really clear that you guys are such a big sustainable project and how you care about community members and have you guys contributing to the space. Seeing like Alex Stemp, for example, constantly hosting spaces and giving value back amongst a lot of other people. So just want to give you guys a good shout out and say good shit, and please continue. And I actually want to ask you guys some advice, looking up to people who've done this really well. So I'm incredibly passionate about starting a project, and I'm starting the community build. And I want to hear from you guys. If you were, I know you guys started with already built audiences to some degree, but for somebody who has a lot of value to add to the space, but is just newer, I'm curious how you guys would go about community building, starting from today.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, that's that Ryan. Go on, Ryan.
Yeah, one point to make, like you said, there was especially a couple of the team members who had the backgrounds, especially Mig from the Bored Apes, especially within the NFT space, but especially like, for example, Topkick and Wolf in other spaces, not necessarily the crypto space. We almost thought originally the people who were joining would be the ones who are almost from our communities and supporting us, which, as great as it is, we wanted to be able to branch out and definitely be seen as like legitimate within the crypto and NFT world. And even within a matter of hours and days, with the sort of slow community building that it was at the beginning, it almost started to blow up, not only in the communities that we were almost targeting, but within the crypto space. So it shows that just, if you have the vision, you've got the roadmap, you've got the team members with legitimacy behind them, that's what people are looking for. I know, especially when we are looking at SVS Alpha, a lot of the projects are unreleased because it's for whitelist spots. So it's quite difficult to actually do due diligence on these. We don't want to be losing anyone money. We don't want to be shilling people into communities that are necessarily toxic or that they don't want to be in. So it's quite difficult to see how a project is going to do before it releases. So I think the way the community building is set up nowadays is because there are so many projects releasing every day, a lot of people almost try and move too fast. They, a lot of people, unfortunately, then are joining the NFT space because they see, oh, this project minted out within 8 seconds and they just made however many thousand ETH. So that's one thing to be careful of with building a community. If you see them get hundreds of thousands of Discord members overnight, they're just almost artificially inflating that to get the hype that's just going to get more people in because all they're interested in doing is minting out. So I would say one thing to be careful of when building communities is just making sure they are legitimate. I know a lot of people do the invite competitions where you're essentially encouraging your members and your community to spam other people's messages just to get them on the whitelist. And I definitely think that's not the way to go about building a community. It might do if you just want to be able to mint out and then have your hype drop off after the original week. But obviously from our side, that was the total opposite plan from what we had. We wanted to build a strong and legitimate foundation that we could build into the months and years after the launch. So that's one thing I would definitely say is I know it can seem like to compete with the other 5 projects that are minting that day, you need the hype, you need to do every tactic, whether it be spamming people or getting people in just for the sake of the numbers. That can all seem well and good from the outside, but in the terms of bringing in community members who are going to stick around, and in the terms of building the foundations for a solid project, I would be careful in almost trying to go too fast in the community building.
I think you're spot on. My experience was like I had a designer working with me, and I planned to launch everything within 60 days in December, and I'm like, dude, this is not sustainable and stupid. And I just pushed it back because I want to be able to build organic community. Right now, I'm spending time in Twitter Spaces. A quick short story is I was in NFTs from like May, and I gained 25 pounds and got fat and lost my way in terms of all my daily habits and routines, and my mental health really suffered. And I think this is the greatest opportunity in the world. And I want to be able to give tools and resources and build a community who prioritizes that and who cares about mindset. So I've been trying to do Twitter Spaces, and they've been good, but I feel like I just look at other projects like Psychedelics Anonymous and a few others, and I'm like, dude, how do they go from, like a couple thousand to 100,000 followers? It feels like it's just crazy. And I know I'm here for the long term, and I come from an established startup already in the space, and I want to give value. I feel like I'm struggling to find the like viral thread to push forward, aside from being consistent.
I would definitely say to continue with your, your long-term vision and your consistency, because that's what, going back to what I mentioned before, even on a sort of weekly basis, I'll wake up, go on Twitter, and all of a sudden there's a tweet from upcoming NFT who have only tweeted once, and they've got like 100,000 Discord members, and you're just sort of like, well, where did this come from? So ones that are trying to build like that are obviously just trying to build off the fact that I now know that they've got 100,000 Discord members overnight, and then it's almost like a snowball effect where they're then expecting more people to come in. Whereas what you've just mentioned sounds a lot more like we did. We had the background, not necessarily in the crypto or NFT space, but if you have the background, show what you're building, it can almost seem like it's going slow at the beginning. Like you said, you're putting all your effort into doing spaces, doing this, doing that, and it seems that people who are doing less than you are succeeding more, which we've definitely felt that sort of vibe in the past, where we can be building on this for weeks and then we release it and it doesn't go down as well as someone who just did one paid tweet from an influencer, for example. But things like paid tweets from influencers and getting spam accounts in and getting your community to harass other people, in our experience, is just definitely not the way to go. It might look like it's providing you the gains in the short term, but if you are really in it for the long run, which I think is almost, with the NFT space growing, the projects in it for the long term are almost becoming a less and less percent. It's quite easy for a project to mint out now, but look at their volume dips. Look at their community 2, 3, 4 months or weeks after the project. It's almost like a lot of projects you'll see are always on a downward trend rather than a steady or upwards trend. So I would definitely say it's worth it in the long run, even if it doesn't seem like it at the beginning, to be building the foundations. And that's back to what we mentioned earlier as well. We might do these in real life partnerships that don't seem to yield too much in the meantime. You might expect certain announcements to pump the volume that day, and you want to see a load of new faces in the Discord, and that might not necessarily happen from one particular announcement, but it's just the whole brand building and the stepping stones to be able to build the legitimate brand that you want to be. That whether that takes longer because you aren't using these pumping tactics, I think it's definitely better in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do think I think you're on the right path, and all the best, and keep us posted later on with how things goes. So I think Josh, thanks so much for everything and these spaces today. So we appreciate it a lot. It's been a great time. So I think for anyone that is new to us and our project, we know you guys can join us over at SVS NFT and make sure to join our Discord. We have these AMAs every week, and we're going to be in a lot more spaces, and we announce all our stuff over there. So yeah, stay tuned to the Twitter and Discord, and then you'll be first to know about all the big things which we're bringing to you guys soon. So I think that's it for us, and thank you so much, Josh.